we continue with the tribute still coming through for the late Luke Fleurs. Can you believe it? That is how we refer to Luke Fleurs today, having tragically died last week here in Johannesburg after an incident of criminality, really, and those that really should be put behind bars for a very, very long time. So we spoke to the executive director of Ubuntu Football, and we paid tribute to Luke, and we continue with one of his close friends, Jesse Donn, who for many, many years was his teammate, was his roommate, and was just his mate overall. Jesse, thank you so much for your time. It could not have been easy. It can't have been easy the past few days. How are you? How are you holding up?
I'm doing okay. If I'm honest, I've been blessed that up until now I haven't had to deal with many deaths in the family or tragedies like this. So this is probably the first big one that I've had to deal with. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I'm learning that grief and trauma comes and goes, and learning how to deal with that. But obviously I'm heartbroken, in the in-between of heartbroken for the loss of Luke, but also ecstatic and celebrating the life that he had. So yeah, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, he had an incredibly short life, Jesse, and you shared the short period that he was around. You shared a large part of that with him. Just take us through how long you've known Luke and how and when you became friends.
Yeah, so I'm privileged to have known Luke for 12 years, so half of his life. I actually first met Luke when we were playing against each other. So the local football associations would select like their best 11s from the different communities, and naturally, because me and Luke were in different communities, we were on different teams. So the first time I played against Luke, he was actually a striker back then. Was the first time I came into contact with him, put it that way, was as an opponent, not as a teammate.
And you gave him a tough time.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, I tried as much as I could. He was very talented from a young age already, and not long after that, our relationship sort of changed from trying to tackle him and trying to give him a tough time to actually being the one giving him the ball. So probably not even less than a year later, after having played against him, the academy I played for that you mentioned, Ubuntu Football Academy, noticed his talent and scouted him. And so instead of trying to tackle him, now I was trying to pass him the ball and get him to score goals. And then, throughout our careers, throughout life, really, it's been me and Luke often, the two of us. We played, or part of the first graduates of the Ubuntu program to play in the senior team in the NFD. He was my roommate when we traveled then. He moved to Super Sports, and shortly afterwards I followed him, and we ended up staying and living together for 3 years. We had gone to Croatia together and spent time there. We both got our first Bafana experience at the same time, so we went to Bafana together. So I really was privileged to have walked many different journeys and through different seasons of life with Luke. And what I can testify to today is that he was the same person through it all. That same Luke that had the infectious smile and this indescribable laugh, like only Luke could laugh, was the same person, same person back then when he just signed for the Ubuntu Academy, and the same person last week Wednesday when he passed away. So that's just the kind of person he was. I have so many special memories throughout the years. I could talk all day, but yeah, he was such a special guy, and I think more so than mourning the loss of a footballer, I think we're mourning the loss of a friend, a genuinely good guy who was joy to everyone who met him.
And I mean, when you've met someone from that age, you not only become their friend, you sort of become like a brother, like a sibling, and you would have met Luke's parents on many an occasion, and you know them. Have you had an opportunity to chat to them, to hear how mom is feeling, how dad is feeling?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, when you meet someone that young, naturally you also get introduced to the parents, and your parents know their parents. And so on that night, a big part of my sort of mission was to go and find out the truth of the situation so that I could convey it to the family. I definitely wasn't the first person at the hospital. I stay a bit of a distance away from where the incident happened, and there were other people that did let Uncle Theo and Auntie Simone know. But I also had heard that they were in disbelief, as I would be as well. And so when I went to the hospital, my biggest mission, my biggest objective was to try and find out exactly what had happened so that I could let them know, because I can only imagine being on the other side of the country and hearing that this is what's happened to your son and hearing all sorts of news. So that just speaks to the relationship that we've had. The day after it happened, they ended up coming to Joburg, and me and my wife went to go visit them and pay our respects. And, it was amazing. The day afterwards was probably the most tearful day for me, but going to see their family and see how at peace they are with the situation, how much trust they had in God's plan, that this was His timing, and that they really wanted to celebrate Luke's life. They were already at that stage wanting to remember the good of Luke instead of focusing on all the negative tragedy that happened in the day before. So yeah, and even in the day since then, they've been amazing. They have uttered many times that they are not looking for vengeance or revenge, but they just want justice for their son. Even speaking to the parents and seeing that they would like to go to the courts in order to see the proceedings for the 6 men that have been potentially prosecuted in relation to this case, and hearing his mom say that's not because she wants to see them, it's because she wants to tell them that she forgives them. And so seeing their strength in this time has been a massive encouragement to me. So the relationship behind knowing Luke and his family has also played a big role in helping all of us heal.
And it's amazing to me, Jesse, when you say the parents are not really blaming anything or not really saying this and that. They just believing that, look, God's timing, God's plan, and we celebrate Luke and move on. That takes a lot. It takes a lot for someone to have that much belief in fate, to a point that having lost a child, they still believe that it was his time. When we spoke to Casey Prince, the executive director and co-founder of Ubuntu Football Academy, he mentioned that the last time he saw Luke physically was at your wedding. I believe that was in December.
October, so slightly before December, October, end of October.
Yeah. Tell us about Luke there. Did he have anything to say to you at your wedding that you might remember for some time?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think on any wedding day, unfortunately, due to the busyness and everything that's happening, you don't really get to intimately connect with everybody. So yeah. I definitely didn't manage to have any extended conversations with Luke, but I can clearly remember being extremely happy and grateful to see him there and have his support there. Obviously, he had made his move to Chiefs by then already, and so we were no longer living together and weren't seeing each other every day at training. And so I remember when I saw him there coming with he was wearing glasses. I still remember the outfit he was wearing. Looking very neat by Luke's standards was encouraging to me, and that was something I'll never forget. I remember if I can put it this way, my heart had a little leap of joy just to see that Luke was there and supporting us. And I think I don't think it was a coincidence that was the last time that many of the people who had come to know him in Cape Town especially, and had also come up for the wedding, got to see him there. I don't know if there was a reason why he did make sure that he was there. I mean, obviously he wanted to support me, but it would have been very easy for him to say, look, I can't make it, or this is happening, that's happening, because our football schedules often don't allow us to be at social events. So the fact that he was there, I think was really great for a lot of the people who hadn't necessarily been able to connect with Luke. I remember when I did embrace him quickly to say hello to him, just him saying and mentioning how proud he was that I eventually was getting married, and that he was, I guess growing up, we had always thought that he'd get married before me. And so seeing me get married before him was a bit of a change of events. So he mentioned that, and I can't remember many other things, but I just remember being super happy that he was there.
Yeah, and that was incidentally round about the time that he made his move to Kaizer Chiefs. Then, so a lot of things changed or between you guys. You mentioned that you're no longer living together, no longer teammates. Obviously, you still had some chats on the phone, but you had an opportunity to speak at Luke's memorial service that was organized at the FNB Stadium. And as one of Luke's best and closest friends, it must have been a very difficult moment for you. I don't think at the age of 25 you would have thought that you would have to stand and talk about Luke as a late friend. Tell us about that moment when you stood up on the podium and spoke about your friend.
Yeah, I think Benji, you hit the nail on the head when you said at 25 I never imagined having to give that sort of speech. And I actually said in my tribute to Luke, as part of the process of me grieving and working through this, I actually wrote Luke a letter of things that I wish that I would have told him or could have told him while he was still alive. And one of it was that, you know what, Luke, I feel so unprepared for this, because although we had spoken about the future, we had made many jokes about what the future would look like, I never ever assumed that this is what the future would look like. I never assumed that I'd be preparing his memorial speech, and it was very difficult. I think the idea that you can somehow honor someone and sum up someone's life in words is very difficult. I made the analogy that trying to put Luke's life into words felt like trying to put fireworks into a matchbox. So it was extremely difficult. But through the process, I think it's been good for me. I made a note to really celebrate the person that he was, his keen excitement for every day, his big smile that really impacted people, his commitment to showing up unapologetically as himself every single day. So it definitely wasn't easy, and for a long period of time I was kind of at a loss for words. Had so much to say but felt like I had so few words to say it. But I'm really glad that I was able to give him a good send off, and I hope that people will be able to learn a thing or two from his life.
Well, Jesse, we definitely have learned from the friendship that you and Luke shared, having seen you guys play together, having seen you guys grow in the game together as junior internationals representing South Africa, as senior internationals also called up into the senior national team. And unfortunately for Luke, the journey ends here. But the good thing is that you get to now carry him in your spirit and continue the journey for both you guys. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Newzroom Afrika today, and condolences to you, to SuperSport United, to Kaizer Chiefs, to the larger football family and Luke's biological family. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Benji.
All right, that's Jesse Donn, one of Luke Fleurs' closest and best of friends, dealing with his passing with incredible stoicism and speaking to us here on Newzroom Afrika.